السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة ولنجزينهم أجرهم بأحسن ما كانوا يعملون. صدق الله العظيم. Honorable ulama, respected brothers, mothers and sisters, let me begin this afternoon by asking you a question. What is the most elusive thing in the world? What is that one thing that everyone is seeking, everyone is running after, but very few people can actually secure? Very few people actually find it and obtain it. What is that one thing with regards to which thousands of books have been written, universities around the world have lectures on it, scientists have been studying it for ages, governments are appointing cabinet positions to oversee it, the UN has a day named after it, Google Analytics prove that people are searching for it. Everyone is searching for it. The wealthy, the talented, the powerful, achievers, leaders, everyone seems to be seeking it, but very few people actually find it. What is it? And the answer is happiness. Every human, irrespective of age, of color, of creed, of ideology, of status, of background, every human wants to be happy. But how many humans are truly happy? And it is for that reason that this afternoon I want to discuss happiness from an Islamic perspective. And my discourse, my lecture will revolve around answering 4 questions. The first question would be that why is happiness so elusive? Why is it that so few people can find it? The second question would be that what is happiness? The third question would be, what is happiness made up of? What does it comprise of? And the fourth question would be, how do you go about being happy? So we will endeavor, bi'idhnillah, to answer these 4 questions with the hope that we will get a better understanding and it will facilitate greater happiness in our lives, inshallah. Now if we look at the first question, why is happiness so elusive? Why is it that so few people can find happiness even though everyone is searching for it? And the short answer is this: our approach is wrong. Our approach towards happiness is wrong. Why? Number one, we are looking for happiness in the wrong place. We are looking for happiness in what the psychologists call the next syndrome. We think that the next milestone in our lives, the next achievement in our lives will bring us happiness. So we're looking for happiness in the next purchase, in a bigger house, in a better car, in cooler technology, in more fashionable clothing, in a better job, in the next holiday, even in the next person. We are looking for happiness in the next. We are chasing the next and the next. But material possessions, material items can only bring you temporary happiness, fleeting happiness. Let me give you a very basic example. When we are young, when we are teenagers, we live with our parents. And they put a lot of restrictions on us. You can't do this, you can't do that, you must do this, you must do that. So we tend to think, one day when I'm big and when I'm mature and I'm on my own, that's when I'll be happy. Then you go and you study and you graduate and now you're out of your parents' home and you don't still feel happy. So you think, no, maybe when I get married, that's when I'll be happy. And then when you get married for a few months, you are in a state of euphoria, you are very happy, and then things normalize. And then you think, but why is there still something missing in my life? Maybe when I get a child, then I'll be happy. So when Allah blesses you with a child for a few months, you're very happy. Then you're having sleepless nights and you're having to change diapers and you have to deal with all of the challenges that goes with being a parent. And now you feel once again, but things are very normal in my life. And like that you're chasing the next. Then you think, maybe when I have my own business, or maybe when I have my own home. And like that your entire life passes you by. You're chasing the next and the next and the next, thinking that the next achievement will bring me happiness in my life. But it is never like that. You continue to chase. It's like you're chasing your shadow. You will never find that milestone. No matter how great an achievement you achieve in your life, after a maximum of 6 months, things return to a normal in your life. You can save for 20 or 30 years to purchase your own home. And when you purchase your own home, for a few months you'll be in a state of excitement and euphoria, and after 6 months it becomes like normal. Your entire life you will dream about purchasing a particular type of car. The day you purchase it, you'll be very happy. After 6 months it drives like any other car. So the first reason why we are not happy is because we suffer from the next syndrome. We are chasing the next goal in our lives, the next objective in our lives, thinking that that will bring us happiness. The second reason why we are not as happy as we can be is that we focus all the time on what we don't have. We don't focus on what we do have. We look at our lives and we focus on what's missing, but we don't focus on what we already have. Sometimes you have 90%. It's only the 10% that you are looking at all the time elsewhere. But the grass is not green on the other side, as they say. When you reach the other side, you realize the 10% is there, but the 90% you left it where you were. There's so much that we need to be grateful for in our lives. So unhappy people are unhappy because they think they need something before they can become happy. They focus on what they don't have, but they don't focus on what they do have. That's the second reason. The third reason is that unhappy people, they focus too much on what happened in the past, and they obsess too much as to what's going to happen in the future, and they forget about living in the present. You obsess. Look, Islam teaches us that the past is relevant because you must learn from it. The Quran is full of stories of what happened in the past, so you can learn from the mistakes of others, learn from your own mistakes of the past, but you don't live in the past. Live in the present. Enjoy the moment. So in a nutshell, those are some of the reasons as to why happiness is so elusive. To answer the first question, we are looking for happiness in the wrong place. We're looking for it in the next. We're looking for it in what we don't have. And we worry too much about what happened and what will happen. We don't focus on what is happening. Every day when you wake up, just the fact that you have woken up, that is such a great bounty and such a great ni'mah of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Moving on to the second of those 4 questions that I want to unpack. What is happiness? We all talk about it. We say we want to be happy. We all aspire and we all wish to be happy. What is happiness? Now this definition that I'm going to give you is a combination of what the ulama have written and also what the psychologists have written. They say happiness is the consistent mental, emotional and spiritual state of well-being. So it's not that you are happy for a few moments here and there. Consistent mental, emotional and spiritual state of well-being. Now if we pay attention to this definition of happiness, we will realize it has more to do with your internal condition as compared to your external circumstances. Happiness is not hinged, it's not determined by what you have in terms of material possessions, in terms of your circumstances. It is hinged and based on what you are within you. I read a quote which is very apt, and I will share it with you. They say happiness is not a destination that you arrive at. Happiness is not a destination that you arrive at. It is the manner in which you travel. It is the manner in which you travel. Your happiness is based solely on your own decision to be happy. And it is one of the most important decisions that you can make in life. So you need to stop searching for happiness out there. When you go out searching for happiness, that's the primary factor which results in you not being happy. Because happiness is not out there, it's in here. In our hearts, in our minds, in our souls. Happiness is a choice. It's a choice. And we need to choose to be happy. Now the third question, what does happiness comprise of? We've answered the first question, that why is happiness so elusive? We've answered the second question briefly, that what is the definition of happiness? Now let's answer the third question, that what is happiness made up of? What are the ingredients? So the scholars have written, and the psychologists have backed this up as well. They say 50%, half of your happiness is genetic. You either have it or you don't. Like some people you'll see, they're more bubbly in nature. They're more happy-go-lucky. They're just very cheerful. So 50% is genetic. It's inherent. 10% of your happiness has got to do with your circumstances. Your wealth, your career, the political environment, the economic environment. And 40% of your happiness is dependent on your actions. What you do and what you don't do. Now if you look at the first two, 50% you either have it or you don't. 10% it has to do with your circumstances. So that 60% is pretty much out of our control. So as Muslims, what do? We apply the concept of rada bil qada, belief in the decree of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. That what Allah has decreed for me, in terms of that 60%, what I have in life or what I don't, I am content. I am pleased with the decision of Allah. Research has shown that those people who believe in the decree of Allah are much happier than those who don't, because many times in life your psychological system works best when you don't have too many choices. So if Allah has decided, you accept it. That is what Allah has decided. That is what Allah has decreed. But when you have too many choices and you make the wrong choice, you forever blame yourself. You forever second guess yourself, that I could have done better, I could have decided better. So the 60%, the 50 that's genetic, the 10 that has to do with your circumstances, we approach it with the attitude of rada bil qada, being pleased with the decision of Allah. There's a beautiful hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari, wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam teaches us this dua, Allahumma qanni'ni bima razaqtani. That, oh Allah, whatever you have granted me, couple it with contentment. Let me be content with whatever you have granted me. وَبَارِكْ لِي فِي, and grant me barakah in whatever you have granted me. Today we ask Allah for provisions, we ask Allah for rizq, but we don't ask Allah for qana'ah, we don't ask Allah for barakah. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is teaching us that, oh Allah, grant me contentment in whatever you have decreed for me, and grant me barakah in it. And then the second part, وَخْلُفْ لِي عَلَى كُلِّ غَائِبَةٍ لِي بِخَيْرٍ. That, oh Allah, everything that you have decreed that I won't have, grant me something better in its place. Whatever you have decreed that in my life I won't get it, substitute it with something which is better. So that 60% of happiness over which we have no control, we apply rada bil qada. The other 40% that is in our control. It's about what we do and what we don't do, and we need to focus on that. And we need to realize that happy people don't wait for life to be perfect or even near perfect. Happy people try to be happy every single day of their lives. They try to do the best that they can in whatever circumstances Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala has put them. So happiness is a choice. It's a choice. You have to choose to be happy. So the fourth question now. We've spoken about why is happiness elusive. We've spoken about what is happiness, and we've spoken about what makes up happiness. The fourth question, how do we choose to be happy? How do we choose to be happy? You choose to be happy by embracing the happiness portfolio, by injecting the ingredients of happiness into your life. And what are those ingredients? There are four things. Number one, iman, your faith. Number two, family. Number three, community. And number four, you yourself. Now let me explain, and let's go through these four things. If we take the first, iman, the entire discussion up to now, Ikhwan al-Muslimin, is actually a prelude. It's just an introduction. What I'm going to tell you now is the core of it. It is the core of it. If you don't remember anything that I share with you this afternoon, but if you only remember this one sentence, it is sufficient for you. If Allah is happy with you, you will be happy. And if Allah is not happy with you, you will never lead a happy life. If Allah is happy with you, you will have happiness in your life. And if Allah is not happy with you, you will never lead a happy life. That's the long and short of it. The foundation of our happiness is based on the state of our relationship with Allah. Our souls need to be connected with Allah. That's why you will find a man who's got all the wealth, all the fame, all the glory, all the success, but at night he can't get sleep. He's depressed, he's suicidal. And then you find a man on the street corner who doesn't know where the next meal is going to come from, but he has contentment because his heart is connected with Allah. His soul is connected with Allah. Abstaining from sin is pivotal if you want to be happy, because Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. If you lead a life in the disobedience of Allah, your life will be a difficult life. Sin can only bring you temporary pleasure. You will never get everlasting pleasure. You will never get consistent happiness out of sin. Sin will bring restlessness to your life. And this is the great irony of our lives. We are chasing the joys of life via sin. But it is sin that brings the greatest degree of unhappiness. So the first ingredient in the recipe of happiness is iman, faith. Belief in Allah and having a strong relationship with Allah. We need to understand, brothers in Islam, that Islam has not come to deprive us. Islam has not come to restrict us. Islam has not come to shackle us. Islam has not come to suck out the joy and the enjoyment of life. No, Islam has rather come to facilitate our happiness. All the instructions, the awamir, all the prohibitions, the nawahi, all of the rules of Islam are not meant to deprive us of enjoyment in life. It is actually meant for our benefit. It is just that we don't realize it. Let me give you a few examples of how the teachings of our deen actually facilitate happiness. How the teachings of our deen facilitate happiness. The one example, Islam teaches us that we need to practice optimism. How? The beautiful hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ajaban li amri al-mu'min. How amazing is the affair of a believer. If something good happens to him, he shows gratitude to Allah and Allah rewards him. If Allah decides to put a hurdle, an obstacle, a pothole on his path of life, he makes sabr and Allah rewards him. Psychologists have written books and they have studied volumes, but this one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives us the psychology of how to be happy in life. That life is always about ups and downs, ebbs and flows. There is no human in whose life everything will go right. But if your attitude is in alignment with this hadith, you'll be happy. No matter what happens to you. That's why I read one quote in English. They say, the quality of your life is connected to the quality of your thoughts. The quality of your life is connected to the quality of your thoughts. And if your thoughts are in alignment with this hadith, then you won't have a problem. Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma, in the latter part of his life, he became blind. And the biggest setback, the biggest physical setback for a human is to lose your eyesight. And yet he was very happy, he was very cheerful. And people told him, but why are you not depressed? He said, my tongue is still functioning. My ears are still functioning. In this old age, my mind is still functioning. Why should I not be grateful to Allah? Allah is testing me with regards to my eyesight. It's a great test, but there's so much else that is positive. Islam teaches us, and I'm highlighting to you brothers, how Islam teaches us. The teachings of Islam bring us happiness. It doesn't deprive us of happiness. Islam teaches us to develop an attitude of gratitude. Man asbaha minkum aminan fi sirbi. The hadith says, you wake up in the morning and your body is functioning. You have enough food for the day and you have shelter for the day. It is as if Allah has given you the entire world and whatever it contains. You have no right to feel deprived. There was a man, a sailor, who got lost at sea for 6 weeks. Everyone thought he had died, and then they found him miraculously. And after he recovered, they asked him, what's the greatest lesson that you learned? After being in the sea for 6 weeks thinking that no one will find you. He said, I've learned this lesson, that if you wake up in the morning, if you have enough water and if you have enough food for one day, you have no right to complain. If you have enough water and enough food for one day, you have no right to complain. So Islam teaches us to develop an attitude of gratitude. Islam teaches us how to compare. Islam says in matters of dunya, material things, look at those who have less. In matters of akhirat, in spiritual affairs, look at those who have more. انظروا إلى من هو أسفل منكم ولا تنظروا إلى من هو فوقكم فهو أجدر ألا تزدروا نعمة الله عليكم. The man who is number 1 on the Forbes list, he still works 18 hours a day because he's worried about the person who's number 2 is going to catch him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, when it comes to matters of your spirituality, look at those who have more. When it comes to matters of dunya, look at those who have less. Islam teaches us that forgiveness will liberate you. When Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Makkah in a position of strength, he said, "La tathriba alaykum al-yawm." Because when you are a victim and others have done wrong to you, but you don't forgive, it's the baggage that you carry with you and it compromises your happiness. Islam teaches us you must have expectations in Allah alone. Don't have expectations in other humans, especially those who are close to you. Don't have too much of expectations in your family, in your children, in your siblings. If you do for the pleasure of Allah and you expect only from Allah, you will be happy. If you do it because you want praise from others and you want others to return the favor, they will always disappoint you. Allah will never disappoint you. Inna Allah la yudhi'u ajra al-muhsinin. So to conclude this point about Islam and Iman being the first ingredient in the recipe of happiness, let me tell you this. Islam did not come to restrict us, to deprive us, to burden us, to make our lives miserable. The teachings of Islam are designed to make us happy. We just need to understand it. in this climate of Islamophobia, we should not suffer from a complex. We should not think that the teachings of our deen are shackling us and are putting us in a cage. In reality, the teachings of our deen are liberating us. We just need to give it a chance. So happiness is a choice. You need to choose to be happy. The second ingredient in the portfolio, in the recipe of happiness, is family. You know, one of the greatest tragedies, brothers, in this rat race of life is that we have ignored our relationships with those people whom we love. And the reservoirs of happiness are in the relationships with the people whom you love and who love you. We have become so caught up in the rat race of life that our homes have become like hotels. You know, in a hotel, you're sharing the same roof. You eat in the same dining room, the same food. But the person sleeping in 201 doesn't know who's sleeping in 202. Each person is in their own world. Today, husband and wife are sitting on the same bed, 30 centimeters apart. If the husband wants to make his wife laugh, he must send her a joke on WhatsApp. Because both of them are busy with the mobile. Right next to one another, in the same home. Father in his own world, mother in her own world, children on their own buzz, doing their own things. Emotional neglect. Emotional neglect is a cancer that is eating away. It's not that we don't love each other. The husband loves the wife, the wife loves the husband, the parents love the children. We're doing a lot for our children, we're working for our children. But emotionally we're neglecting each other. It is more important to invest in your family than it is to invest for your family. We spend the bulk of our lives investing for our families. And it is important. But that legacy will last. And Allah alone knows how long it will last. But when you invest in your family, those memories will be treasured. And that will be your true legacy. Each one of us, yes, we're fighting for time. Sometimes people tell you, Sheikh, I'm so busy that I even delay going to the bathroom to relieve myself. I need to just send one more email, I need just to make one more phone call. And then I look, 1 hour has passed, I still need to relieve myself. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the most occupied. He had the most responsibility, yet he found the time. They say if you love somebody, then spend that 5 minutes extra with them every day, having a proper discussion. Tuck your kids into bed at night. Talk to them. Show them love and affection. They will value that much more than the money and the house and the career and the education, all of which is important that you will invest for them. You know, they did a survey, a worldwide survey of people in their 50s. And they asked them, what's your greatest regret in life? And the majority of them said, I spent too much of time at work and too little time with the family. The company will always make a decision in the best interest of the company. The organization will always make a decision in the best interest of the organization, and that is how it's supposed to be. So you will invest 30 years of your life, and then some young person will come who's got new ideas and greater flair, and they will post you into retirement with a farewell party. A new imam will come, he's got a beautiful voice, they will usher you into retirement. Then you will regret because there was no balance in your life. There was no balance in your life. By then your children have grown up and they are in their own rat race now. Many times you think, I just need to do this, that and the other, then I will spend time with my family. By the time you reach there, if Allah grants you life till then, now your wife is terminally ill. Or now the children are grown up and then they caught up in their own rat race. And you cannot compensate for it, you cannot make up for it. The greatest irony in our lives is the people that we love the most, we treat them the worst. At work, you'll show a lot of tolerance with your boss because he signs the paycheck. You'll show a lot of tolerance with your customer because they bring in the money. But then you go home and you offload all of your stress and your pressure on the people that love you the most. And that's the irony of life. So the second ingredient in the recipe of happiness is look after your relationships. Invest in your relationships. Happiness is a choice. You have to choose to be happy. I don't have too much of time, very quickly. The other two. The third ingredient of the four in the recipe of happiness is community. I'll just say this one thing. People who live selfish lives, where they only do for themselves, are never happy. But people who live lives where they do for others, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ, the best of people are those who are of the greatest of benefit to others. They are happy by virtue of the happiness that they bring to others. Were you happier the day you purchased your first car, or were you happier the day you purchased your son's first car? Happiness that you bring to yourself is when you see the smile on somebody else's face that was as a result of your own action. So be a community-centric person. Do for others, whether it's with your wealth, or whether it's with your expertise, or whether it's with your knowledge, or whether it is with your time. Today people can sign a check, but very few people can give their time for the broader benefit of the community. And lastly, the fourth thing in the portfolio of happiness is look after yourself. You have to look after yourself to be happy. Today, we live in a technologically advanced age, but we have become like machines. You know, a machine, you flip the switch in the morning and the whole day does the thing. In and out, the same thing. Until you flip the switch in the evening, and the next morning you switch it again and it starts. Today, we have become stuck in the rut of routine. Day in and day out, we're doing the same thing. We're chasing the same goals and objectives. We don't get adequate rest. There's no organization and discipline in our life. We are helter-skelter. We're not eating healthy. We're not keeping fit. We're not connecting with nature. We're surrounded by concrete jungles. Now and then you need to take a break. You need to sit amongst the trees. Look at the flowers. Refresh the state of your mind. These are all the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You need to experience new things to break the cycle of monotony. You know, there's this one anecdote that I always like to share. They say there's this man, he got employed as a woodcutter to chop trees. So the first day on the job, he chopped 15 trees. So his boss called him in and told him, nobody has chopped 15 trees in one day, you're the first. So he started to see dollar signs. He thought, well, tomorrow if I make it 16, maybe I'll get an increase. Maybe I'll get a bonus. Maybe I'll get a promotion. So the next day he came earlier, went later, worked harder, but he only managed 12. And every day, coming earlier, going later, working harder, but it was just coming down. 9, 7, until one day he only managed 2. So he went to his job and the boss and he handed his resignation. He said, I can't explain this. So this boss was a proper leader. You know, he had foresight. He said, listen, you are working harder, but in reality there's one important thing that you have forgotten. You have forgotten to sharpen your axe. Your axe has become blunt. So in this rut of routine, we have become blunt. You got to take time out, me time, spend time with nature, spend time with your family, do different things to refresh your mind and your soul and your spirit so you can do more justice to your core functions. Just to summarize, brothers in Islam, sisters in Islam, we have explained that the most elusive thing in life is happiness. Most people, everyone wants to be happy, but very few people are happy. Why? Because our approach towards happiness is wrong. We are seeking it in the wrong places. We focus all the time on what we don't have. We worry too much about the past and too much about the future. What is happiness? Happiness is the consistent mental, emotional and spiritual state of well-being. It has more to do with your internal condition than your external circumstances. It's not a destination that you arrive at, it's a manner of traveling. What does happiness comprise of? It's a choice. You have to choose to be happy. You have to exercise the choice. How do you choose to be happy? By embracing the ingredients of happiness. The first is Iman. If Allah is happy with you, you will be happy. The second is family. Nurture your relationships, because your relationships are crucial to your happiness. The third is community. Pursue your own happiness by making others happy. And the fourth is you yourself. In the pursuit of everything else, don't forget yourself. Let me conclude with a verse which I recited right in my introduction. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala gives us the prescription of happiness from the Quran. مَنْ عَمِلَ صَالِحًا مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. When you are a believer and you accept Islam in its totality, أُدْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً, you embrace all of the teachings of your deen, then whether you are male or female, Allah says, فَلَنُحْيِيَنَّهُ حَيَاةً طَيِّبَةً, we will grant you a content life, a pure life, a wholesome life, an enjoyable life, not only in this world, but in the year after as well. If you live your life as a proper Muslim, not only will you be happy in this world, on the day of Qiyamah you will be from amongst those who will be addressed. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, that O contented soul, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyya, return to your Allah in a condition where you are happy with Allah and Allah is happy with you. فَدْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي, now enjoy the company of the special servants of Allah. وَدْخُلِي جَنَّتِي, and take entrance into Jannah, where there is only happiness upon happiness. May Allah grant us happiness in this world. May Allah make us happy in our graves. And may Allah grant us the everlasting happiness of Jannatul Firdaus. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.